Thank you, Coinbase, for sponsoring this video. Hey everybody, it's Eddie here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin ETF. It has been approved. Bitcoin hit 48K, but what is going to happen next? For the remaining of this video, I'm going to share my thoughts, my opinions, and we're going to go into the charts to see what we can expect as well. So we're going to go over the charts towards the end part of the video, but for the majority of the video, I kind of want to share the psychology of the market and kind of expectations when you have news, stuff like Bitcoin ETF approved, Bitcoin's going to go to 80K, 90. Like you hear all these crazy numbers. Will Bitcoin eventually hit those numbers? Yeah, probably, possibly. We don't know exactly when, but is it going to happen in the next month or two just because everyone's making videos on it? And this is where we have to really come back to reality and set expectations, because this is where a lot of people get hurt, lose money, get traumatized by the markets, and never come back. So the market consists of three different types of people. There are investors, traders, and speculators. And all three are necessary for the market to be what it is. Investors look at the fundamentals of a company or a project, numbers, looks great, let's invest into it. Traders consider those factors, but they are more towards technical analysis, using patterns and charts, seeing opportunities to enter and exit. And speculators are people who are uneducated on both sides, and they just enter and exit the market based on emotions or news or tweets or what their friends tell them. Could you be all three in some sort of season? Probably yes, but you make the most amount of money when you are a trader or just an investor, one or the other, and being the best at that. I think a lot of people like myself usually start off as an investor, and some people stay there, but people who kind of see more opportunity on the trading side will lean more over to the technical analysis and trading area. And oftentimes traders will just kind of take advantage of the news and everything that's going around, but we don't really care too much about what's happening in the news. We mostly care about what's just happening in the charts. And that's why I've been so confident about the $48,000 mark. I've been talking about Bitcoin hitting $48,000 for over about a year, actually, for the past year. And that was when Bitcoin was below 20K. I was like, yeah, I mean, if you draw the Fibonacci retracement, the 618, it's clearly going to be $47,000 to $48,000. At the time when Bitcoin was below 20K, everything felt like it was bleeding. There was just no way Bitcoin was going to recover. And I sounded crazy when I said Bitcoin was going to hit 48K. We all know that it's going to recover someday. And when Bitcoin hit 48K, everyone was like, oh, Bitcoin hit it. You were right, Eddie. But it's not me. That's right. It's literally the charts. So the reason I share all this is just to be cautious in the market. Be very careful when you put your money in and why you put your money in. Be careful when you listen to advices from other creators, including myself or other people or news outlets, because just because something like a Bitcoin ETF sounds amazing, in most people's mind, it's like, oh, Bitcoin ETF's approved, a ton of money is going to get poured into the crypto industry, therefore Bitcoin is going to shoot up to the moon. And yes, sure, fine, it will, but it's not going to happen as soon as you think. And there's a reason for this, and this is due to volatility. For the market to go up, it also must come back down. And this part that happens in the market is volatility. And majority of volatility does actually come not from investors, because investors, they just create new floors, especially long-term holders. And usually the volatility of the market, of markets spiking up and spiking down, are due to speculators and traders. And so because Bitcoin hit the 618, which is $48,000, traders took profit, and now they're just waiting. They're waiting on the sidelines for Bitcoin to come down to a certain level, which we're going to talk about those levels in the charts. And once we hit those levels, they're going to enter back into the market, and bang, Bitcoin's going to shoot back up. The last thing I want to share before I move on to the charts is to ask yourself, you have to really identify, are you a speculator, a trader, or an investor? If you are a speculator, you really have to choose a side. I suggest you start being an investor. And when you do become an investor of anything, right, study the company a little bit, study the project a little bit, especially we're talking about crypto right now, Bitcoin. At least understand the fundamentals of Bitcoin, why it exists, just understanding at least the basic, like why does the halving exist? Why is it scarce? Why are there only 21 million in the world? And why does it make it so valuable? These are very simple questions that you should know and be able to answer. Once you understand that, you can start diving into the trading realm. And for myself, I used to be like a 50-50, like 50% fundamental, 50% trader, do a little bit of both, right? Become a long-term investor and do a little bit of trading on the side. But I've learned over the years, I'm kind of more of like a 90% trade. Like I'm just more towards the trading side rather than the long-term investing, just because I do find a lot more opportunity on the trading aspect. There's a saying, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. And I feel like I've been in the market and have had enough experience to kind of be able to read the charts and to kind of know what may happen next. Kind of not necessarily predicting what's going to be happening, but like just by looking at the charts, oh, like we hit this level, this is what might happen based on historical data. So we'll get into the charts. But before I move on, I do want to thank our sponsor for this video, Coinbase. If you guys are familiar with Coinbase Pro, well, they switched over to their Coinbase Advanced interface. They have low trading fees, and they are one of the most trusted crypto exchanges within the US, and they were established for over 10 years. You can set limit orders, market orders, stop limit orders, and their entire charting system is powered by TradingView. But the one thing I want to talk about is Coinbase's reward system. You're able to earn 5% in USDC just by holding it in your account. There's no lockup, no contract, no nothing. All you got to do is just transfer some over and you can earn 5% in USDC in rewards. Coinbase has 552 USDC spot trading pairs within the US and 237 USDC pairs outside of the US. So if you want to learn more about Coinbase and their 5% reward, go to advanced.coinbase.com. And once again, thank you Coinbase for sponsoring this video. So let's go over Bitcoin. We'll do a little bit of reviewing from my previous videos and let's talk about where Bitcoin could, how low Bitcoin could drop. So right now we have the Fibonacci retracement tool highlighted. If we go from the previous high, drag it all the way down to its low and kind of extend that out. The 618 is at $48,000 and Bitcoin just hit that right there. If we zoom in, as soon as we hit it, there was a wick and Bitcoin just sold off. Right now, Bitcoin is using this line right over here, the 0.5 as support, but there's another way to actually know how far Bitcoin may drop. If we remove everything and grab the Fibonacci retracement tool again, what you would do is you would go from the previous low to what we hit, which is 618, which is the high over there, extend that out. And now the charts tell a different story. Right now, we're using this as support. And how low can this go? Well, it could probably drop all the way down to the 382, kind of use support resistance, and probably drop all the way back down to the 0.5 range at $32,000. From the current price, this is an approximately another 24% drop. Now with the whole like, oh, the Bitcoin ETF's approved though, like, isn't it going to be amazing? Isn't all the companies going to buy out? Like, yes, all that is true. Like, everyone's going to try to stock up as much Bitcoin as possible. But again, these things take time. It's going to be the news of 2024. It's going to be spoken about in summer, in winter. Like, it's going to be like a progressive thing. Nothing just happens in an instant, right? So there's going to be a possible pullback of 24% down to the $32,000 range. This is not a number that I just pulled up. This is based on historical data that I've observed. And that's why it's technical analysis. Like it's just my personal analysis. This is my opinion. I cannot guarantee that Bitcoin will pull back all the way to $32,000. So don't be waiting on the sidelines. Just do whatever you feel is best for yourself after you watch this video. You see, after the 2013 bull market, there was a bear market, hit the 618, which is right over here. So if you go to this previous low, to the 618, which is right over there, guess where or how low Bitcoin came back down? All the way to the 0.5. And it was just a wick, right? Down to $465. That's crazy. Now, these moves usually happen based on traders, not speculators, because speculators will panic sell. They'll be like, why is Bitcoin dropping so suddenly? I'm going to sell. Investors are not panicking because they're like, well, Bitcoin looks good. I'm going to just keep holding. This is just normal. This is Bitcoin. Volatility is normal. Traders, on the other hand, are like, this is opportunity. Bitcoin's dropping. It's going to hit the 0.5. This is where I load up. And Bitcoin sprung back up. Same thing from 2018 to 2019. Bitcoin hit all the way back up to the 618. But if we extend all that out over there, Bitcoin actually tested the 0.5, failed, used 618 as support, went back up, got rejected, and kind of bounced in this whole area between the 0.5 and 0.5 right over here, this medium line. Hey, of course, we all know what happened here. COVID, sell-off was wild. But again, he used 0.5 again as support, ranged around there, broke above it, and continued higher. So the lesson is that Bitcoin, based on historical data and what usually happens, is it does break down at least and it will touch at least the 0.5. In worst case scenario, it can even go back to the 618 and hit $28,000. From the $48,000 range, that's about a 34% drop. To the 618, it's a 42% drop. Based on historical numbers and drop, that sounds pretty normal. So for the point of me making this video is just to, again, set expectations. Don't expect Bitcoin just to pump up from here. It's just not going to happen. I think there has to be a little bit of a healthy consolidation right around this area for a little bit before we continue higher. Another thing I've mentioned in my previous video is that Bitcoin never broke above its previous all-time high until after the halving. Halving was right over here, didn't break it until a little later. Same thing over here, 20K was right over here. Bitcoin did not break above its all-time high until after the halving right over here. This year, the halving is going to be sometime in April, like mid-April. So I don't expect Bitcoin to break above its previous all-time high, probably until after the halving. It could happen closer to after the halving. You just never know. So summer seems to be more realistic until Bitcoin breaks above its all-time high and then continues higher. But the one thing I keep telling myself is, Eddie, you have time. Just be patient. Dollar cost average in, and just don't rush. Don't go all in just yet. Just go a little bit at a time. Don't rush. Don't FOMO in. One thing I am kind of speculating on and trying to observe closely in the market is a possible mini altcoin season as Bitcoin consolidates sideways. Well, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave it down below. For those of you that are still here, thank you guys so much. There's still a few personal things that are happening in my life that I'll eventually share. Some good, some bad, and some unfortunate stuff, but all will be shared in due time. But other than that, I'm really excited for 2024. This crypto journey has been absolutely amazing, and I'm excited to see what coins and just how high Bitcoin will go. So hopefully we can ride along, and I'll see you guys in the next video over. Good night, good morning, adios.